Hey guys, how are you doing? Hope you guys are having a good week so far. I'm sorry I haven't been able to make a video in so long. Life's just been getting busy, but now this is my third attempt, fourth, I can't remember right now, to try to make my review of Mobile Suit Gundam. The first few times I tried to upload the video, it was way too long, and it was just taking forever, and it was just... Okay, so what I did, I tried okay, let me condense, write a script out, and, do it from the script, and just read from the script from there. And then I realized that when I finished making the video, and I already finished it and edited and everything, and I watched the video again, that the first time I read scripts, I talk very fast. Extremely fast. This is an old habit I've had from drama. This is, I've done drama for a while, and this is when I did theater in high school and stuff like that, and I read scripts, it always happened. The first time I read a script, I just went, and, I sped through it. So, I rehearsed it a few times. Gonna try to take it a little bit slower this time, so, yeah, hopefully it'll work. So, the review of Mobile Suit Gundam. Alright, the first Mobile Suit Gundam was groundbreaking in many aspects. The first series, which was released in 1979, was considered the first realistic of the mecha genres. The mecha series, more specifically, before this, mecha meaning giant robots, it was a very light-hearted affair. It was near invincible robot A fighting near invincible robot B. One of them is good, one of them is evil, very black and white, very, just very straightforward, to the point, very campy affair, But Mobile Suit Gundam, when it was released, changed all this, because it gave it a more, by realistic, it just, it covered very dark issues, very difficult issues, and it was just, completely revolutionized the mecha genre. Now, Mobile Suit Gundam is set in the universe, the timeline of the Mobile Suit Gundam series, at least the first few series, is set in the Universal Century. Mobile Suit Gundam is set in the year Universal Century 0079. Humanity is divided in two, essentially. Essentially, those who continue to live on Earth, or those who continue to live in these orbiting space colonies called, orbiting clusters of space colonies called sides. And essentially both Earth and the colonies are ruled by the Earth Federation, which is sort of like a United Nations sort of deal. Now, however, in the side farthest from the Earth, which is called Side 3, a family emerges called the Zabi Family, a very powerful aristocratic family, and they form the Principality of Zeon, and launch a war of independence against the Earth Federation, which later is known as the One-Year War. The Zeon army is severely outnumbered by the Earth Federation, but to even the odds, they use highly advanced weaponized mobile suits to fight against the Earth Federation. Now, back then, mobile suits were just mainly used for construction, stuff like that, but the Zeons were the first to actually weaponize them and use them for war. Now, by the time that the series begins, it is already late into the One-Year War, September of 0079, and the Federation seeks to turn the tides in their favor. They want this war over with, because at this point, both sides have lost half of their populations, through weapons of mass destruction, colony drops, all this sorts of thing. Just very tragic things. So the Federation, seeking to end the war sooner, they initiate Project V, which is a top secret project to design mobile suits. 3 mobile suits that they design are the gun cannon, which is a very heavily armored mobile suit with 2 giant, guns on its shoulders. The gun tank, which essentially, body of a mobile suit, legs of a tank, very useless mobile suit, and the namesake Gundam. And they also developed the ship called the White Base, which is supposed to house all these powerhouse mobile suits. Now, these are being built on Side 7, colony is Side 7. What happens is that the Zeons get word of this, that the Federation are designing mobile suits, and send in Char Aznable, the Red Comet, to go and attack the base. And during that attack, the Gundam falls into the hands of a young civilian named Amuro Ray, who is the protagonist of the series. And not only does the Gundam fall into the hands of Amuro, the gun cannon, the gun tank, and the White Base, either fall into the hands of either civilians, young civilians, not old civilians, probably around, from the ages of 15 to 19, or very inexperienced Federation officers. Amuro and the crew of the White Base because they've seen all this top secret information, are then forced to fight for the Federation against the Zabi family, because if they refuse to fight, they'll be arrested for seeing top secret information. So they're forced to fight. They're not fighting for any ideology. They're essentially just fighting to survive every day and just get through the end of this war. Now, one of the things that this show does great, and this is one thing that gives it a more realistic feel, is that it tackles very dark and serious topics. Like this show is extremely dark. I mean, not as dark as like Zeta Gundam to follow, but it's still it's still dark for its time. Like it covers like topics like the horrors of war and the loss of innocence. By loss of innocence meaning that you have these characters who are 15 to 19. The oldest, essentially teenagers, and the oldest crew member is Bright Noah, who is the commander of the White Base and one of the handful of Federation officers on board. So everyone at first starts out these kind of angsty teenager sort of things, especially Amuro. Amuro's an extremely angsty person, But, however, because of war, because of the horrors that he's seen, he is forced to grow up, because if he doesn't, or if the crew doesn't, they will most likely die, because they need mature pilots, and they are forced to grow up early. While this is, great in terms of character development, because we see Amuro develop from an angsty, rebellious teenager to someone with an ego drive because he feels that he is the best, to someone more of a leader, not a leader, but someone that they could be proud of. And just the fact is that, he kind of had to stop being a teenager and had to start acting like an adult so early. And just, it's kind of tragic to think of that way if it was in real life, And just, it's just a very sad thing to think about. Now, another thing that is great about the first Gundam series is the use of strategy. The other Gundam series strategy is sort of thrown out the window, while there is some overall major strategies. Like Mobile Suit Gundam uses extremely, we see Bright and Amuro using, actual, strategy, and not solely relying on the sheer power of their mobile suits or their weaponry. Bright's always constantly giving strategic ideas, Amuro is thinking strategy. It's interesting to see, it's not just oh, we're going to head out and just destroy things. There's a purpose. There's a plan to get to that, very specific, very detailed plan, which I didn't get the first time around I watched it. I'm doing this review after watching it a second time. It's truly interesting to see. It's oh wow, they use a lot of strategy. This is it's very well thought out strategy too. So it's very interesting to see that. I mean, the action sequences are still great, but it's interesting to see that kind of intelligent layer of strategy kind of top it on that as well. Now, since Gundam was made back in 1979, the animation, compared to what we see now in anime, looks bad. I mean, back in its time, it looks really good. I mean, it looked good, but just the animation style really hasn't aged well over time. That doesn't make the series unwatchable. It's just, it takes a little bit away from the magic, of what it is, and just, and that's just one of my major complaints. My other major complaint focuses on the English dubs. The voice actors' cadences are all over the place, with some really cringeworthy dialogue. It's bad, but hey, it's better than the Naruto English dubs, And that's what I wanted to talk about today. If I had to give this series a rating, I'd give it a 9 out of 10 easily. I mean, the animation, like I said, it takes away from the magic a little bit, but it's still an all-time classic. And if you really want to, this is one of the best animes ever. It's one of the all-time classics, one of the all-time greats, and I really will recommend it to everybody. Alright guys, I will talk to you later, and I'll try to post a video up maybe tomorrow, maybe tomorrow, maybe on a Friday to post up my review of Zeta Gundam. Hopefully this video will upload, so yeah, that'll be awesome. And please, leave comments and subscribe. I really appreciate it. I'd love to get some subscribers and just love to be able to have, I really appreciate it. So just leave comments, subscribe, I'll try to post videos as often as I can. So, alright guys, I'll talk to you later. Peace.